So we all know that Cyberpunk 2077's developers, CDPR, are moving to Unreal Engine, a move that surprised many, many people because Cyberpunk is a technical marvel, and it's like, so you struck oil and you're just leaving it behind to go over there and look for something else. It's a little surprising, but it should tell you just how promising they think that other mine is. They struck gold in this mine here, but they're leaving it behind to go to the mine next door, which should tell you something. That should tell you either they're total idiots or they know something about that other mine that is very much exciting them. So there were a series of like videos and press events and stuff that they did showcasing and discussing this decision as part of an Unreal event that discussed this. And basically they announced that the new Witcher saga was in development, that they were going to be using Unreal Engine for it instead of their own proprietary tech. And specifically, they mentioned that there was a demo revealed and released by Unreal in a medieval pack, basically, that got them excited and interested.
So there was one demo that happened last year that was the medieval environment demo, where at one point there's a notice board that looks strangely familiar to things we've done in the past that has even a sign that says Monster Slayer Wanted. And I'm like, Are they trying to tell us, you know, come over to Unreal Engine, look how great your games could look on there? Was that whole demo made with that nefarious purpose? I don't know, but it definitely caught my eye.
This opens a new chapter for us where we really want to see.
So they say that they saw that demo and it got them really excited because it was almost like they saw a visual representation of this could be The Witcher 4. Like, this is what you could be dealing with if you were to build your game with our tools. And it got them excited. It kind of sparked the thought, maybe we should do that. And one thing that was kind of interesting that was brought up to me, it was after we did that video on Cyberpunk's like crazy 2.0 or rather 2.1 update with all the crazy improvements they had made to overdrive and ray reconstruction and all that. And basically what this person that commented said was that the Red Engine is really good and has been fine-tuned for a game like Cyberpunk 2077, because that's what they've been working on for the last like 8 years, basically. And what that means is like it's been fine-tuned to be really good at ray tracing with the help of NVIDIA. It's been fine-tuned to really specialize in these like neon lights and the ray tracing that comes into it, and that is really useful for that, for shiny objects and those reflections off of cars and vehicles and glass. All of that stuff makes perfect sense in the world of Cyberpunk. In the world of The Witcher, you don't have neon lights. You don't have a lot of reflections. You don't have a lot of glass or, you know, shiny cars to worry about reflections with. Instead, you're dealing with a lot of what are known as diffuse materials, materials that absorb light in various ways and don't reflect much of it back. And that's actually a really, really handy thing when it comes to designing environments that are really, really beautiful. It's one of the reasons why like Red Dead Redemption 2, for example, can look so freaking good. And it's because there's a lot of diffuse materials. You're not having to worry too much about really shiny objects that can be particularly difficult to render. Instead, you can rely a lot on rasterized graphics and things that are cheaper in terms of frame time to render. So you can get amazing quality because nothing in this scene except maybe his eyes are going to be reflecting stuff. You get some perks of like ray trace lighting, maybe with the shadows cast from the fire or something like that, but it's not super crucial to have crazy ray tracing and reflections and all of that. It's just not that necessary. Most of the frame is going to be rendered using traditional means. And in the case of The Witcher, this makes a lot of sense because you don't need to lean heavily into the strengths of the Red Engine in the context of Cyberpunk 2077 with all the ray tracing, overdrive stuff. You don't need to lean that heavily into it. Instead, you can use these kind of clever workaround methods like Lumen or other global illumination technologies and solutions to achieve similar effects much easier, because you're not, like if there were a Lambo here, then yeah, you would be able to tell, oh, it's screen space reflections or it's whatever, it's this or that technique. But in the context of a regular medieval environment, you probably aren't going to tell that those things are there, you know? And there's been other environments showcased, you know, over the last however many months or years, showcasing some environments that are medieval in various stages of polish and stuff. And some of these, get people really excited. Some of these are made by like 1 or 2 people. Some of these are made by entire teams and are meant to showcase the power of Unreal Engine. Like some of these environments, you can start to see kind of like the vision of, oh yeah, I could see riding on Roach through, or I guess it won't be Roach, but riding on a horse through some of these streets, these environments. I kind of get it. I can see why they were excited by the more photorealistic graphics that they were trying to present. So all of this to say, they've chosen very, very intentionally to move over to that engine. And I think it's because it shows that they understand that their engine, the Red Engine, is very, very good at a very specific thing that they built it to be very good at, which of course is like the heavy reflections in the world of Cyberpunk. That doesn't necessarily mean that it would work great for a game like The Witcher, which is set with very few reflections, very few, if any, neon lights and things, and instead is about diffuse materials. It's just a matter of specialization. I think it's a really, really interesting thing that's going to be studied for a while. I mean, when they eventually reveal The Witcher 4 and show what it looks like, what it plays like, I think it's probably going to blow a lot of people away, but it's going to be a matter of how the game runs, how it operates when we actually get our hands on it. Because another part of this consideration that isn't often brought up is that I'm sure there's a lot of like kind of PTSD within the team after the launch of Cyberpunk. I mean, there were interviews with former devs. There were even statements made publicly by the CEO and everything, where they were like very open. They said, yeah, we are pretty ashamed of how we put out that game and we want to do better. We wanted to show people what we were capable of. And instead we put out a broken mess and we don't want to do that again. And so I'm sure part of the consideration is what tool set is going to be stable and is going to allow us to experiment and do some crazy stuff while not totally breaking and falling apart. And Unreal Engine, it seems they are more confident, is able to put up with that type of load and weight, which is, it's fascinating. I'm really intrigued. I think when we eventually see The Witcher 4, it's going to blow us away. I don't want them to show it too early, but I would love, can you imagine if like this summer even they just show like a really early trailer or something, proof of concept trailer? Oh, that'd be mad. Absolute madness. All of the information we know about The Witcher 4 Project Polaris. Now, as of right now, since this article was written, or at least last updated, this game is in like full production. They have a full team on it. They said they were targeting like 400 something people. It's like 409, I think 408, something like that. And they are all working on this. So they are in full production. I mean, they're no longer in pre-production. They were in pre-production for like a year and a half, 2 years. And now they're moving into full production in the Unreal Engine 5, and they're going balls to the walls with it. Super exciting, super cool. But this is going to be different from The Witcher 3. If people are expecting like The Witcher 3 Part 2, they're going to be disappointed because this is going to be very, very different. The Witcher 4 is coming officially now in the works at CD Projekt Red under codename Witcher Polaris. Is it a codename if everybody knows it? I don't think it is, but it's just a nickname until we come up with the actual name. That's all it really is. Regardless of what it is ultimately called, The Witcher 4 will be the first game of a multi-game saga that will be part of a new AAA RPG trilogy. So technically you have confirmed with The Witcher or you have confirmation of The Witcher 4, 5, and 6 right there. The developer dropped news of a whole load of upcoming CD Projekt Red games that are in the works, or plans of them, last year, so it's been quite the season of discovery. It has somehow already been almost 8 years since the release of one of the best RPGs of all time, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, so news of a new trilogy is welcome news around these parts. True. CDPR released an update on The Witcher 4 October 4th of 2022. As part of the news, it was revealed that the internal codename for the new game is The Witcher Polaris. CDPR has confirmed that the next installment of the series is in pre-production. That will begin it'll be the beginning of a new saga, and they will aim to release 2 more Witcher games after Polaris, creating a new AAA RPG trilogy. All of that we kind of know, and now they are not in pre-production, they are in full production. So they've got the full team on it now. There's only like 17 or something people still working on Cyberpunk updates and patches and stuff. Everybody else is working on other secondary projects or The Witcher 4. So they are in full force production, which is awesome. We know that The Witcher Polaris will be released on Unreal Engine 5 rather than CDPR's proprietary Red Engine, which was used for The Witcher 2, Witcher 3, and Cyberpunk. Additionally, back in May, CDPR confirmed that the quote-unquote research phase on The Witcher 4 had concluded, with the studio splitting its time between pre-production on this new RPG series and on the Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty expansion. What the research phase means, I'm not sure. I'm guessing most of that is with regards to Unreal Engine. That would be my guess. We have recently concluded the research phase for the first game in the new Witcher saga, which means that from now on, further development expenditures will be capitalized on our balance sheet. Okay, if you're looking for basic takeaway from that, it's that Witcher 4 has yet to enter pre-production. It would appear that developers at CDPR are finalizing where and when the game is going to be set, including any possible characters that could show up in the game or the RPG franchise. I mean, that also makes sense. I mean, they finished pre-production in 2022 in May, or they finished the research phase, and then they entered pre-production in 2022, and now, as of a few weeks ago, they're going into full production. So it's probably a mixture of like making sure they have the tools to build the game they want to build, and then also deciding what game they want to build and do like the design doc and all that stuff. All of that good stuff. As reported by IGN, Adam Kaczynski noted on an investor call that The Witcher 4 Polaris release date is at least 3 years away, with the CDPR joint CEO explaining that, quote, for this project, we for sure we need some extra effort to deliver because of the shift to Unreal Engine 5 and the development of new technology. Interesting. For now, it's a lot easier to call the next Witcher game The Witcher 4 because until it has an official name, it's basically what it is. CDPR Global PR Director Radek Grabowski has even clarified that the developer hasn't announced a game called The Witcher 4. What he specified was, what we have not announced today, a game called The Witcher 4, a game exclusive to one storefront. It was our initial confirmation of a new saga in the Witcher franchise. Right now, we are not discussing any specifics in terms of story, characters, mechanics, or plot details. They're just working on a new saga. That's what they're doing. That's all they're doing. Seems interesting that I think why they're not choosing to go the route of saying it's The Witcher 4 is because that implies that it's a direct follow-up to The Witcher 3, and that's not what they're doing. They're trying to do something totally different, it seems, and they don't want to get tied into any of that stuff. You know, they're trying to keep it more unique. Yeah, I'm American. Of course I'm butchering names like crazy. What would you expect? Like, duh. What is funny, though, is that it looks like CDPR isn't adverse to calling it The Witcher 4. During a recent earnings call, CDPR CEO Adam Kaczynski actually called Polaris The Witcher 4 while discussing the implications of the studio shift to Unreal Engine 5 in partnership, which is really funny that they're like, to be clear, we have not announced The Witcher 4. Meanwhile, one of the CEOs is like, yeah, so The Witcher 4, we're working on it. They just casually ignore it. That's funny. We are preparing things on pipeline side and toolset side, he begins. Some developers are still learning the technology, and at the same time, there are teams working together with Epic on those aspects that are needed for our open world RPGs. For the first project, Polaris will maybe not slow down, but it won't accelerate the process. Okay. So, I mean, they already are confirming here. They're working together with Epic on those aspects that are needed for open world RPGs. So they're building tools with Epic's help for the next Witcher game, which again is part of the explanation of why they might have moved over to Unreal, because they wanted to partner up, they wanted to team up and get their expertise and have some help building out the tools that they need, which is awesome. I mean, that's exactly what you would hope to see. So they continue, but for the next projects, we assume that it should smoothen, that's an interesting word, it should smoothen the production. This was one of the reasons behind saying the strategy that we want to release 3 big Witcher games within 6 years, starting from the release of Polaris, which is The Witcher 4. But it's not, though. It is Witcher 4, but it's not. Ignore it. However, CDPR was quick to correct its own CEO, providing us with the following statement. This was actually a slip of the tongue. Polaris will be the first game in the new Witcher saga. The saga will consist of 3 games. It's a little funny. All I think it means is that it's not Geralt. It's not strictly following the books. They're going to be doing something a little bit more original, which is fine with me. Back in 2018, CDPR CEO Adam Kaczynski basically confirmed that the game won't be called The Witcher 4 2. So you can pretty much count on the fact that the new Witcher saga will be something different. The first 3 Witchers were by definition a trilogy, so we simply could not name the game The Witcher 4. This does not mean, of course, that we will leave the world of The Witcher, which makes sense. They've been talking about this for years and years and years, going back to like 2017, that they wanted to do something new and different. Yeah, they designed the original Witcher trilogy as a trilogy. They put 15 years into it. They went on to say that the Witcher series deserves some rest, or at least the team needs a change. For the past 10 years, the team has been working on swords and castles and medieval Slavic monsters. So I think it's time for some guns, androids, and some ammo. Yeah. So they took some time. By the time this comes out, it will have almost certainly been over a decade since The Witcher 3. So makes sense that they are trying to shake it up a little bit. Yeah. And they said, don't expect a release date before 2025. Yeah, I would say 2026, 2027 makes more sense. I'd probably put more money on to like 2027. At that point, they're getting close to like the cross of the generations. So maybe they just push it even further and wait till 2028, when PlayStation should also have a new console coming and they just release like exclusively next gen stuff. That could be super cool, but we'll see. We'll see what they want to do. As for specific design decisions, there's been rumors for ages that they might be going more of like a design your own character, kind of standard RPG affair where you build your own Witcher and then you go through training and then you begin on the adventure from there. I don't think it's been rumored by anybody that they're going to be doing like a new named protagonist that you take over. I don't think they'll be doing that. I think they're going to let you build your own. That would be my guess. They're just going to leave it open. And it's going to be totally fresh, totally new. They're not following the books. They're following the world of the books, but they're going to let it be something truly unique and original, which is super, super cool to see. I'm very excited for it.